when becoming a driver for Lyft, make sure all your bases are covered and be aware that it's very difficult to speak to somebody to resolve a troublesome situation that you might find yourself in. And make sure you have enough cash to cover any kind of situation that you might not be able to get resolved that might affect you financially. I drove for Lyft for most of 2018 and into 2019, and the pandemic hit. I was still doing that. It was both Lyft and Uber for most of 2019, but when the pandemic finally hit, it knocked me out of work for both of them, and I did have some accidents on my record. But my gripe with Lyft is that when I tried to start driving for them again, I was gonna do the rental car through them, and I paid my $500 deposit, and they allowed me to take the car before my driving record check was completed. So I had the car, with the deposit, which was fine. I mean, I was gonna get the deposit back, but they allowed me to take the car before my driving background check was completed. And then when it came back, it turns out that I was not able to drive with them because of unsatisfactory driving record. So they took that 1 week of the car rental fee out of my deposit, which understandable. I understand that. That's how it goes. But they took that, and I was hoping that I could contact someone. My biggest gripe with them and Uber is it is almost absolutely impossible to speak to a human on a telephone or even in a chat. And I think most people say that, especially drivers and people that ride with both companies. So was really hoping to try to speak with a human at Lyft, and ask them why did they allow me to take the car before my driving background was finished being checked. And then to add insult to injury, they charged me because they require you to have the car for 7 days before you can turn it back in, which I get that, they're trying to, cover their bases or whatever. But then I turned the car back in. They charged me for the extra day because I turned it in after 1 p.m., which was the cutoff time for completing the 7th day. But that was no fault of mine because they're out to lunch when I got back before 1 p.m. to process that return. And then, let's see, I turned that car back in on, I believe would have been the 7th. And a couple days later, I think I didn't see the charge until maybe the next Monday, the 13th. Or no, actually, the next Monday would have been, actually later that week was when I would have seen the charge. I saw another charge out of my debit account for $189, and I have no idea what that was for. If they could even give me some sort of explanation for that $189 extra being taken from my account beyond the $500 deposit that I paid, which I didn't completely expect to get back in the first place. If they could at least just give me an explanation for that extra $189, I would probably not be as angry as I am. But there is no explanation for that because I couldn't get a human to speak to at the company, and I'm on a very tight budget. Even giving that $500 deposit that I knew I was going to have to give anyway was kind of stretching my finances. So that extra almost $200 on top of that was just, to me, unacceptable. In my opinion, they should give me the whole $500 deposit back because through no fault of my own did I have to keep the car for that whole 7 days plus that extra hour that incurred the 1 day fee. And then the absolutely no explanation for that extra almost $200, I think that should also be refunded to me. So in all, I think I should be refunded from Lyft $689. And I have no way of speaking to a human to see if that was something that would be possible. And I'm sure this happens to a lot of people. Guys probably hear this pretty often from drivers, especially. That, there's no one, you can't speak to someone at Lyft or Uber, and that it makes difficult situations yet more difficult. Main goal is just to let both the Lyft and Uber, even though this is for only Lyft, let them know that drivers are out here, we're working very hard, And when we have an issue, we really need to speak to somebody and be able to communicate with at least a representative from the company to voice our opinion and hear our issue and to get help through that situation if it's something that's out of our control that Lyft can help us with.